So what I'd like to do in this recording is to talk about one of these sites in finance on a library that is extremely useful, and it is Mergent. So you can access it through our Hatch library. So if you go in the Hatch library, this will pop up. You go in the business, and there are obviously many research sites in our Baypath Hatch library. Three that are very often used are IBIS World, Mergent, and Business Soul Premier. And so the reason these things are laid up front is that's where many of the research is done, and then later on students can go into other side. So today I'd like to do is to talk about Mergent online and specifically how would you use it for analyzing company and forecasting data. So if I go to Mergent, you log into the library, and this page will pop up. So first thing you have to decide is which company are you be looking at it. So let's look at one of the retail company, Macy's. And so if I click the symbol Macy's, I'm sorry, let me go back again. Macy's, click on Macy's, and this will open up. And these are the tabs on the top. It will open up on a summary page. It will give you on the top. It will give you information about the company, what sector they are in. Obviously, they are in retail, general merchandise. They are department stores. Summary level, what the revenue is, net income, etc. And then on this page gives you more information at a summary level about the company. And then if you need more information, you can go through different tabs. If you want to know more about the key executives that run the company, you can go into that tab. It'll tell you who the executives are, how much they make, how old they are, and so on. Ownership of the company, which obviously this is a publicly traded company. And what this means is that who are the owners, and obviously you would expect large institution like over here. What that means is major funds that own it. Like on the bottom you can see that Vanguard Fund has many of their shares in their mutual funds, State Street, and all these funds. So that's basically tells you who are the large shareholders of the company, in this case Macy's. Our focus obviously will be on financials, which I'll come to it, but there is other information you can do with that. For example, if you want to get a feel for the competitors, if you click on that, it'll give you a summary information of who are the competitor. Obviously you would expect other retail stores like Walmart, Target, Sears, Kohl's, and so on. Now if I go to the company financials, in there you can get information. So starting with the tabs on the top, you can get it on an annual basis, which is what it will pop up, or you can get it on a quarterly basis. So if you ever wanted to see information more near term, which means that you could be looking at a company and we are in the middle of the year, so we need more information than the end of last year, then you can go in and click on quarter and it'll give you quarterly information. You can get the balance sheet, you can get the income statement, you can get the cash flow, and you can also decide on how many years. Right now it is open up as 5 years, but you can go in and look at 10 years, 15 years, or even longer if the data is available. So sometimes if you're looking for a much longer trend and 5 years is not enough, you can do that. So where you would do it, if you ever want to make a change, let's say I would like to see annual, but I want to see income statement, and I want to see for say 10 years. Once I made those changes, I will hit refresh, and when you do that, it'll refresh the data for you. So as you can see, I have the data for 10 years. In this one, it goes backwards, most recent year 2014, 2013, and so on. Okay, so let's say if I just want 5 years, go back, hit again, and I'll get that information. Okay. Now up here you see these tabs as reported, preliminary, standardized, restated, and so on. Typically for analyzing it in a course in a classroom, what you want to do is to use the standardized format. So if I hit that, it will give us a much more cleaner income statement, that you're used to. You got your sales, or total revenue. Typically you're going to find they're one and the same. You got the direct costs, which we would call it cost of goods sold or cost of revenue. Then gross profit, which is, or gross margin as we sometimes call it, SG&A or selling and administration, and so on. Now, if you ever wanted to know what it is, this little question mark thing over there, is if I move my cursor there, it will tell me what it is. So for example, when I move my cursor close to direct costs in the question box, it says costs incurred to produce goods for sale, etc. That is typically a cost of goods sold or cost of revenue. So any one of these things, if I want to know what it is, it will tell us what it is. Interest expense, obviously, is all the interest expense in the so on. If you want to see something that is, you'll find once in a while, like discontinued operation, if you hit on that, it will say income or loss of a business segment that has been discontinued, which means sometimes during the year they may get rid of a business, or they want to divest it or get rid of it. So that's what you will find that data. So now, the other thing that is also very handy is now all this data we have, you don't have to go in and type it in by hand. Okay, we can download it. I'm going to show it to you in a second. The other thing I want to also show you, that if you really wanted to get more information, to say, hey, what is this data coming from? If I click on this little arrow, it will open up and tell me where it is coming from. So if there is more additional data, it will break it down for us. So getting back over here now. So if I want all this data, and we want to say forecast information beyond 2014, but I want to do is to bring all this in an Excel file, I would just go and say download. If I download it, let's say if I want to open it, it will open up an Excel file, and all the data as we see in here will be in an Excel file, and I'll show to you how that would look like, and it will look like this. So all I did was downloaded the data. Now, for the assignment I've given you, I would like you to first rearrange the data such that you go from left to right, which you want 2000 here, 2011, 2012, and I want to see you be able to rearrange these data. So how would I do that? Basically, I think most of you know how to do it. I can take this column, I can range it, I can hit right click, I can say cut, and I can move it someplace else. So I can move it over here, so now I've moved this over here. Now I got 2010 is the first one. I can take this, I can cut this, put it over here, and then I can paste it and so on. So I can move this thing around. So now I can have 2010, 11, 12, 13. So here I have 2011. I can take this from here, I can cut it, put it over here, and I can paste it and so on. And that's how you would do it. So now you rearrange this whole thing. Okay. So once you get it done like that, it will basically look like something like this. Okay. What I have done over here is a couple of things. So let me go back to the one we just downloaded it. So we downloaded this file, and I was just helping you move this thing around. And once you move around, obviously all those 5 years will be in a row. Some of this information right now you don't need it, but it is there for if you ever need it. So I would basically take this, and I can just move it out of the way. I can cut it and move it down, paste it so it's out of the way. So if we are really looking for is this income statement. As you can see, this thing over here, the very last item is your income statement, and all these pieces are here. Okay. Now, what we are going to do for the assignment is we are going to, as I had mentioned in the assignment, that we want to do is to forecast next 5 years. So what you would do for the companies that are assigned to you is first you are going to bring it in this format. And what do I mean by that? I basically rearranged it so it basically is lined up now 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay. If you want to calculate, and one of the things I've asked you to do is to grow the sales for the future. So what we're trying to do is to forecast for the next 4 years. 2015, 16, 17, and 18. And information we will use to forecast is, on average, compound growth rate for this year, how much it is, and if you assume it's going to grow at the same rate, we can then take 2014 and grow to 2015. We can take 2015 and grow 2016, and take 2016 and grow it at 2017, and so on. In order to figure out the rate, you have to do is to look at how much did it grow from here to here on a compound basis. And that's where you would use the rate formula. And this is what I have calculated right here for you. So I'm going to do it again so you can see how I did it for Macy's. So if I want to calculate rate, I would go to the formulas, financial formulas, go under rate. Okay. And this box will open up. First thing it's going to ask you is the number of periods. In this case, there are 5 years, but the growth obviously is taking place for 4 years. 2000 starts in 2010, so it grows to 11, 12, 13, 14. So n will be 4. So you're going to type in 4. There is no PMT, which means there is nothing being added. So in this case, for something like this, we just put a 0 there. Present value is where you are starting from. The way this formula works from a time value perspective, the way this formula works is a starting point, which in this case is called present value, should be put in as a minus number. So I put a minus number over here, then I will click where I'm starting from. Okay. Future value will be where it is ending at right there. And if I hit OK, I will get this 4%. And because it is rounding it, if I go in and put some more decimal places, you will see that it is 4.25%, which means on average this is growing 4.425%. So now I can take this and apply it over here. So basically what I have done is I've taken this here. If I click here and go to the formula and put in the traces, you can see I'm taking this number and applying that number and growing it over here. I'm taking this here, applying over here, and again using the same rate, similarly so on. So you can see how that is done. Now, the rest of the items we can then use a common sizing approach to say, common sizing as we learned is to say, okay, what percent or the fraction is cost, direct cost, in this case I call it direct cost, cost of goods sold. What is it? And basically if I take this thing over here is really a ratio, is this as a percent of the sales. So that's how this is calculated. If I want to see this one, that's how it's calculated. That's how you learn how to do common sizing. So once we have that, we can use this information as a relationship, applying against the new sales, and we'll get all these numbers. So that's what it will look like. And at least so this way now, I am giving you the methodology you are going to apply to your companies. Okay. I will not give you this Excel file because the learning is learning how to do this on Excel. In the Word document, these numbers are there, so you can see the numbers. And if you want to start with Macy's and see if you can replicate it, if you can, you know, it works. So I hope this will be helpful for you.